to another FOTN review. FOTN obviously meaning Fight of the Night, and we have a Fight of the Night to recover, well, to go over, from last night's UFC fight card. Yes, it's a Fight Night card, well, it is on ESPN, but technically sort of the same thing, let's be honest with ourselves. Again, it was at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida, United States. And the Fight of the Night in question is the first fight on the main card of the show between Song Yadong and Marlon Vera. And as always, I try to break it down as best as I can without breaking down myself, even though that is getting more difficult as the days go by. But anyway, let's move on. So it starts off with what is very much a filling out process. Obviously, starts on the feet and such. They can't really go for it all just yet. Marlon Vera is moving more forward, but Song is landing a lot of heavy shots. And throughout the majority of round one, that is sort of the main story of it. Song is like countering the really good shots. He's still getting hit with a good few. Vera is landing some really good kicks, especially. Vera's kicks were probably his best tool in this fight, and he used them extremely effectively. And there was a lot of really good trading back and forth too. Song did manage to come away with the better half of most of those firefights, and it did eventually get to a point where they were clinched against the cage near the end of round one, and there was some really good knee work from Vera. And Song did manage to get out of it and get back to his stand-up game, but yeah, Marlon was doing some really good damage in the clinch, and he was leading it well with his kicks and throwing in some good punches behind it. But even though round one was pretty close, I do sort of give it in favour to Song personally. I feel like he just landed a few more shots. He landed some really good hooks, and there was a great moment, I forget which round it was, where he landed a really good left head hook, right body hook, and then left head hook again. It was a really good combo. But Marlon Vera, much like Tony Ferguson last week, just completely tanked a lot of what a lot of what Song had to throw at Vera. Vera managed to take a lot of it and still push through. So that was really cool. And round one, I know I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. Round one I personally give to Song, even though it was very, very close and extremely entertaining. And then, with the pace firmly established at the end of round one, we move into round two, and sort of, for the most part, it is sort of the same story, but Marlon Vera does start to land a few more shots. He's... I think he gets a takedown in round two. I could be quite mistaken about that, but I believe he does get a takedown in round two. And, Song does manage to get back up, but yeah, on the feet is sort of the same story. Marlon Vera is pressing forward, leading with his leg kicks. He does start to land more head strikes this time around. He throws a mean right uppercut at some point in round two as well. It's either him or Song that throws it. I completely forget which one. But Song, he manages to take some pretty good hits as well. He takes a really good body kick, and he lands some really good combos. His combos do start piling up a bit more in round two, more than they did in round one, and I think that's what would spoiler eventually actually winning the fight by very close unanimous decision. It was 29-28 across all three cards, and I do agree with that. And it is a fight I would have been fine with either guy winning, and I'm saying this now before I've concluded, before I've finished even getting through round two. But there we go. That's just what I thought. So Song keeps landing these combos. Vera keeps pushing forward. He does manage to get into the clinch again. He gets quite a couple of clinches in round two. And there's a moment where he has Song pressed against the cage, and they're landing really good clinch elbows, like a firefight. As Michael Bisping put it, a firefight in a phone booth with elbows. And I just want to see an actual real life version of that, because there's a phone booth close to where I live. I think they forgot to take it down. I don't know, but yeah, Bisping put it quite eloquently with that, and it was Vera landed some really good shots in that. I think he got the better of that firefight. And I feel like he got the better of the end of round two as well, because he landed a hell of a right body hook, and you saw Song move back a bit from it, and then Vera smartly targeted the body until the end of the round anyway. So round two, a lot closer, still sort of in favour of Song. It was one of those cases, this entire fight is one of those cases of one guy landing up more, but the other guy landing shots that would make for a better gif, shall we say. Vera was the gif guy in this particular instance. He was there was one shot he throws at the end of the fight, which I'll get to because it was so mental. He was the one throwing the big stuff that looked like it hurt him more, but Song was actually landing a lot more punches. sort of, but I'll go over that in round 3, which will be in about now. So round 3 starts, and because Marlon Vera knew that he hurt Song's body in round 2, he immediately just rushes up to him and goes for a body to the knee, for a knee to the body, and eventually manages to get a takedown. And Vera puts on the storm pretty early on in round 3. He manages to, as I mentioned, get the takedown. He lands a pretty good shot. He does stand up and then come back down with a good couple of hammer fists. Hammer, not hammy. I don't know what hammy fist is. It probably sounds delicious. But Song manages to push Vera away, and he gets back up, and he's a bit slower as Song in round 3. He does still land some really good shots, but is Vera starting to pull away with it a bit more? He lands a good couple of... He lands another takedown near the end of the round as well. Vera does, and he lands some really good leg kicks. They start to bruise up Song a bit more, and he lands some really good body stuff as well, and he's landing a lot more hooks as well, and I think in round 3 he does get a really nice uppercut in. But, I feel like he should have focused a bit more on the body. He focused quite a lot on the legs, because there was a point where he clinched Song, and he landed some really good knees on Song's legs, and you could tell he was doing a lot of damage, because obviously it was. So, yeah, round 3 was very much like Marlon taking a lot of the control. Song was still landing some really good shots. He was landing really good hook combos. There was a point where he got a lot of punches in a row. There was a good combo, then a break, then a combo, then a break, and Song kept piling them on. But yeah, near the end of round 3, I think Vera got another takedown, and then Song managed to get up quickly, and they were back in the clinch, and Vera landed some really good shots. And then, bizarrely, this is the shot I alluded to earlier. When they broke away from the clinch, just as the fight was ending, Vera stood on one hand and did a cartwheel kick thing that did hit Song, and it was kind of awesome. It was unnecessarily flippy shit, but it was cool flippy shit. I don't really know how else to put it. It was just kind of cool to look at. But yeah, that was the end of round 3. That concludes the fight, and it was extremely close throughout the entirety of it. I still feel like Song did pull away with the win, even though a lot of people online don't really agree with that. Not even Marlon Vera, because apparently after the fight, I did read up on this. I didn't watch the full thing. I just stopped after the actual last round ended. Song went to shake Vera's hand, and Vera was like, no, and he was apparently quite pissed off that he lost. I'm like, yeah, it's a loss, dude. It happens to everybody at some point. You're nothing special. I hope he doesn't watch this, because he would absolutely kick my ass. And he did a great job in this fight, obviously. So did Song. Where does it rank on my fight of the year list, though? If I'm being honest, sort of mid to low. I mean, I don't know, if I had to rate the past 3 Fight of the Nights, since the UFC sort of came back after the... Well, not after the pandemic, because it's still going, but, now that they're putting up events again, I would put, from bottom to top, I would put the previous fight at the bottom. What was the previous fight again? Gonna have to look it up. Gonna have to look it up. Brian Callier versus Hunter Azure. Then I would put Song Yadong versus Marlon Vera. Then at the top I would put Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje as the best of the last 3. But this one wasn't terrible. It was fun. It was a lot better. It was a lot better than the last one. It didn't end in a finish, but it didn't have to. And it was a really good going the distance fight. It had a lot of striking. It had a fair bit of grappling and takedowns and clinching. The clinch work was phenomenal in this fight, by the way. I don't know. I don't see myself going back to watch it. Then again, I don't really do that with any of these fights anyway. It's just what sticks in my head the most. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really solid. Both men did a great job. Props to Song for winning. Props to both men for getting the Fight of the Night bonus. And that's really about it. That's all that I have left to say for this fight. And the next one, I think the next card is going to be the first one not in Florida. Or it could be wrong. Okay, so apparently it's going to take place on May 30th. And Dana White is hoping to have it have the card in Arizona, possibly. So who knows? You know, whatever happens, happens really with the UFC. I really hope for the best. I really hope they do come out more on this, even though I know they've got like a shit ton of money and they don't really have a lot to worry about. But it's a difficult time for everybody, and I really hope that I get to keep watching these Fight of the Nights and and talk about them. So, honestly, that will about conclude it for this video. I'll see you most likely on Tuesday for the next PBW card, then some point after that for backtracking, or at least a very brief history, and then on Friday, the next PBW pay-per-view, Reverence. It's going to be good. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.